Let's jump into this. Jimmy, honey, thanks for doing this with me.
Yeah, super excited. Thanks for having
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm excited.
So, honey, I think you are up. The first slide, I believe, is you. So, tell us about tell us about you. Not everybody know. Most people who are on here probably do know, but just say hello and what you do and what outsourcing has done for you.
All right. Yeah, so I'm Honey Woods, and I have been selling online since Q4 of 2015. That's right when we started, and it was actually I had twins that were born in September of 2015. So we started with newborn twins. That was crazy. I don't recommend that. But we were desperate to have more time with our family, and so we just jumped in and said, hey, let's do this. We were able to actually bring my husband home from his job in April of a couple years ago. I have 6 kids that I'm able to stay home with because of outsourcing. My oldest actually just turned 12, so I have kids from age 4 all the way to 12. So they're all still pretty young kids. It's a handful, but I constantly get asked, how do you do it all? Because I've got 6 little people and I homeschool and I run a business and all this. And honestly, you guys, outsourcing is key. Outsourcing is the only way I could do it because I don't do it all. I have other people that help with different things. And so outsourcing has just been huge, for so many aspects. We're going to get into some of that stuff too, but it's business and otherwise, just things that I can say, hey, I don't have time to do all this. And so being able to outsource things is how I'm able to look like I do it all when I don't. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Love it. Thanks, honey. And Jimmy, tell us about what you've done and what outsourcing's meant to you.
Yeah, so myself and my wife, Brittany, we've been selling on Amazon since December 2015. So we must have started the same time, honey, which is crazy. I didn't realize that, but it's pretty cool. We currently do over 125,000 per month consistently with retail, online arbitrage, some wholesale, some private label. Actually, in April, we did over 190. And so all of that is with outsourcing. Brittany and I don't pack boxes. We don't really shop much at all anymore. All of that we've outsourced. And so actually right now, if for those of you on Facebook that didn't hear this before it got live, we've got people mowing our lawn. So, it's pretty nice to outsource that kind of stuff so that I can do this, right? Otherwise I'd be outside instead of doing this webinar with you. So it's been extremely helpful for us. We've got 12 employees and 1 virtual assistant in our Amazon business. And like I said, it's fairly hands off, but we do have 2 other VAs in separate businesses and use them for other things as well. Other than that, last year at this time we had 3 income streams, and now we're at 15 because of outsourcing. So in that time span, a year, we've added 12, and none of that would have happened without outsourcing and everything that we've done to grow our business since then. So,
man, that is huge, guys. Before some of you might look at that and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm just going to quit right now." As far as thinking about outsourcing, when he said employees, just know that Honey has 0 employees. I have 0 employees. Most people, there are a lot of folks I know aren't doing it with the employees. Just the way that Jimmy and Brittany have it set up, they need to. They're telling them when to come into work and all that type of stuff, and you have to follow the laws. But you can totally do this without having a quote employee. You can have independent contractors. I use VAs in the Philippines. So that's what's so fun about this. The group we have here is we come at it from different angles, outsource totally different things, but we've kind of all reached the same result with what outsourcing does for us. So yeah, that's good. Awesome. Jimmy, thank you so much. I'm just, again, so proud of you guys, what you've done. Writing a book. You couldn't have written your book if you were out shopping and
that's true. Yeah.
packing boxes all the time.
Right. No, it's been crazy. I haven't packed a box, I don't think, in over a year now. So it's been pretty nice.
I haven't either, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
That's usually the first thing that people like to outsource. One of the first things is getting rid of that packing up shipments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Very, very good.
There we go. Awesome.
Yeah. And guys, Ryan Rieger here. So I'm primarily working with VAs in the Philippines. We've been doing that for several years. I helped found the legendary virtual assistant service for our Legends group. We have a group of folks in there that we provide them with VAs. We hire, vet them, train them, and pass them off to members of the group. So I help put that together. But I have a lot of experience working with VAs in the Philippines, and for various reasons, I'll tell you, we'll get into that. I may touch on that very briefly on this webinar, but it's a great place to find virtual assistants help, and they do an amazing job. But I have over 16 streams of income. I think Jimmy's going to pass me and overtake me, but that is totally fine with me. But none of that would be possible with outsourcing. Without outsourcing, I could not do what I do on a day-to-day basis if I didn't have a team. And guys, also a team doesn't necessarily mean people. It could be, and as Jimmy's going to talk about here in a little bit, it could be simply software. There's software out there that will save you a ton of time. So this can look so many different ways. So if you're a little bit nervous, you're like, man, yeah, I know I need to do what Honey and Jimmy have done. I know I need to outsource this stuff, but I don't feel like I'm at that position yet. Well, number one, we're probably going to tell you to take the leap, because Honey will tell you how her business changed when she got that free time. Absolutely. How her personal life changed. But then also just realize that there are other steps you can take to start buying back that time. So besides going to the route of hiring somebody either here or the Philippines, so just know that there are baby steps that you can move forward with, because I get it. I know how scary it can be to relinquish control, or to say, here's $200 a month of my precious hard-earned money that I'm trying to use to build my business, and I'm supposed to give it to you. And so that, just know that we're here for you. We understand that, and we're going to give you some options. So cool. Let's dive into it, Jimmy.
Awesome. All right. So why outsource? So first and foremost, well, actually, I won't say first and foremost, because there's actually a lot of great reasons. So the one that applies the most right now is to grow your business, right? It's hard. Eventually, you're going to hit a point in your business where you're just capped out, where you're the bottleneck. You can't do anything more. And, you've got to grow your business somehow. And so the only way to do that is through outsourcing. And as Ryan mentioned, that's not always people, but it is something that is one of the reasons why you should outsource. So you can grow your business, grow your income, allow yourself to add multiple streams of income, etc. Another one, offload tasks that you don't like. So as Honey and I both talked about, prepping and shipping was the first one to go. We both didn't like it. Most people don't like it. But you want to get rid of those tasks that you don't like, so that, just from a free time standpoint, but also just mental space. Like if something, I always describe prepping and shipping as like a soul sucking task. Like it just,
Yes.
it removed years off my life. So I got rid of those things that I didn't like. And so that's one thing that we'll encourage you to do as well throughout this webinar, is to figure out those tasks that you can outsource, especially the ones that you don't like. Yes. Free up time for other things. And this is why I changed what I said first and foremost. First and foremost, in my opinion, should be family time. That's why you should outsource. You want to make sure that you get more time with your family, build those relationships, that you're not just, spending all your time on your business. But you can also free up your time for new business models, for sourcing, for learning, doing, being on these webinars or watching other webinars. That's important as well. So I think that, yep. And then make your business sellable. That's, if you're doing something like arbitrage, it's going to be more difficult. But if you're dealing with wholesale, private label, or your own, information products, etc., if you're able to outsource and kind of offload those tasks to where you're not required to do them, it's going to make your business more sellable and attractive to people that are looking to buy a business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
And then it becomes more effective and predictable as well. Obviously, if you're running the whole thing by yourself, you've got a list, you've got multiple to-do lists probably. And I'm looking at my desk and I still have multiple to-do lists, but you can at least make it more effective and predictable because you can offload, a to-do list to one person essentially to be able to get those things done. And I think that does free up time, but it also frees up mental space so that you can, have a better life essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then more profit. Whenever you do these things, you're going to be adding, obviously more sales, but also you're going to be outsourcing tasks that are $10 an hour or $4 an hour. And you can focus then your time on $100 an hour and up tasks. So that way you can add more profit to your bottom line. And then you can reinvest more into your business. So you get the opportunity then to either pay your employees more because you're making more money. You can pay employees more, attract better talent. You can reinvest more into product sourcing. You can reinvest more into whatever is required to grow your business at that point. And then, I already talked about paying employees more and attracting better people. And then lastly, getting employees quickly up to speed, 2 to 4 weeks max. That's important, right? Because if you're not able to allow your employees to become independent from you, or your virtual assistants to become independent of you, then ultimately you're just creating more headaches, in my opinion. So you want to make sure that you can get people up to speed quickly. And I believe 2 to 4 weeks is a quick amount of time for an employee, and mainly I would also believe for a virtual assistant. Again, we have less virtual assistants than Ryan and Honey, so that's their specialty. But ultimately, getting them up to speed quicker will help you to grow your business and focus on things a lot quicker as well.
Absolutely. Jimmy, I love what you said about the where it's the soul sucking tasks, and we all have those. And guys, your goal should be, and I bet none of us on this call aren't, and even people watching are there. Our goal should be to only be doing in our business what we can do. Meaning, like, what are the highest level, most profitable tasks that require your time and energy? Only do those in your business. So if you're selling on Amazon, likely that's going to be, maybe sourcing. Now Jimmy and Brittany have even outsourced that so for them, maybe you'd be researching new private label ideas, whatever it is, or maybe he wants to offload most of his Amazon business and work on writing his book like he just did. But we should all have our goal to only be working on those things that we can do and get rid of all the other stuff. Because there are people who are much better at packing boxes. There are people that are probably maybe better sourcers, people that can do all these other little things. And you're definitely people that can probably be better bookkeepers and accountants. And get rid of that stuff, because your time is so much more valuable on those important tasks that require your creativity and your brain. So make that leap, guys. It's so important. Honey,
I was just gonna say too, I got stuck right here, guys, when we first started doing all this stuff online. I got stuck with that more profit part right there, that I thought, you know what, I'm going to pay somebody money, but I could just do it myself, and then it won't cost me any money. I don't know if anybody else was there at some point, but I remember thinking, I don't want to pay somebody else to do stuff because I want to keep that money for myself. But the more we get into this, you guys are going to see, our sales were at a stopping point. They were stuck because there was only so much that I could do. Yeah. And so many different things, but by being able to outsource some things, it actually does bring in more profit. Like Jimmy mentioned, you can, it could be a lot of different things, but at least for us, I know it was the sales, because stuff would just sit, that soul sucking prepping and shipping took so much time that I was like, it would just sit there forever. And so then stuff isn't selling. So there was money and profit that we were losing out on because it was just sitting there, because it would take us forever. So being able to just that simple task of saying, somebody else do this part for me, actually exponentially helped our business, and it was able to make it grow because I wasn't the bottleneck anymore. So exactly. Even though it seems like I'm paying somebody money to do it, that was a lot of money that I missed out on by just letting it sit there. So it really can mean more profit, even if you're paying someone else money. So
yeah, and I think it's also very carefully worded. It is more profit. It's not necessarily more profit percentage, but if your sales go up from it, you're going to make more money, right? Yeah, exactly. So it's just naturally what's going to happen. So I think that's perfect.
Absolutely. And guys, the correct way to say that, and thank you, Gene, is only do the things that only you can do. Only do the things that only you can do. Now, again, that's something that I still every single day do things that I know in my heart, and while I'm doing it, I'm like, I know I should be giving this to somebody else to do, but I trudge through anyway and do it. And I'm preaching to myself here. I got to get rid of those things.
All right. So what to outsource? So this was a perfect transition. Do what only you can do. So only do the things that only you can do. I don't think I need to hit on that too much more, but ultimately, if you're spending time on tasks that other people can do, and you can spend your time on, more important things or higher level things, then that's ultimately what you need to be focusing on. So you need to start outsourcing things that other people can do for you. Different stages of your business will call for different focus. So as you heard, Honey and I'll keep alluding back to the prep and ship. Most likely that's the first thing anybody that's doing Amazon selling out of their house will start with. But as your business grows, you have more things that then you need to outsource. So right now, what to outsource for me and my business with Brittany is going to be different than somebody that's at, $10,000 or $20,000 a month, right? Or brand new. So, ultimately each stage is going to have different things. And in this, we'll talk about kind of how to figure out what you need to outsource based off of where you're at in your business. Okay. And this is where we'll talk about it. So, 3 questions for what to outsource. And this was taken from Ari Meisel. He's got a book called Less Doing. And I think it's a perfect way to kind of start figuring out, okay, where do I really start to outsource things from my business or in, your own life? We outsource things just from our life that aren't a part of our business. And the first question for that is, does it take me more than 5 minutes? And so this is something that, you can adjust it if it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. In the book, does it take more than 5 minutes? Because for the most part, if it does take more than 5 minutes and you really don't like doing it, then you should probably try to outsource it if you can, especially if it's a simple task. The next one is, do I do it more than once? So that could be anything that you do monthly, you do it every day, whatever that might be. If you're going to do it more than once, then it gives the opportunity for you to outsource it, especially if it's a regular task. If it's something you're going to do twice, maybe you don't outsource it. But if it's something that you're going to do regularly on any type of a basis, even if it's yearly, it makes sense to outsource that task. And then, is it something that I don't like doing? This is where I personally started whenever we were trying to figure out what to outsource, is like, what do I don't like, or what do I not like doing the most? And so I started there. But these 3 questions are really a great spot for you to start on how do I make my list for the things that I need to outsource moving forward.
Good stuff. That's does it take more than 5 minutes? Do I do it more than once? And is it something I don't like doing? Guys, I think the struggle sometimes for me personally is I think, you know what, that only takes me 5 minutes. That only takes me 7 minutes to do. But then it might be a task that I do 5 times in a month. And if I had just taken the time to put a video together, do a simple screenshot type of video and give it to my VA to do, then I would never have to do that 5-minute task ever again. So don't fall into that trap that I often do, which is, oh, it's only 5 minutes. It's only 6 minutes. But if you do it often, then look at how much time you could save yourself if you just, yes, it's going to take a little bit of time to put that procedure together, to write a document, to get out a Word document and start typing down the steps, or to do a video. But man, it's going to save you so much time in the long run.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I put a couple examples, taxes, it hits all 3, right? It takes you more than 5 minutes. You have to do it more than once. Every year you're doing it. And is it something you don't like doing? Unless you're an accountant, you probably don't like doing it. And even most accountants probably don't like doing the taxes, but they do them. So that's who you can outsource them to. Prep and ship, account management, opening cases for your Amazon account, handling returns, etc. All of those things meet those bullet points. But it could be something as simple as, mowing your lawn or whatever it is that you have to do regularly or takes you a long time to do. And then in the book, he talks about how you only need it to hit one of those questions. So for me, I probably would have it be more of like 2 of those questions, unless it was something I really didn't like to do, then it doesn't matter. I'm going to try to outsource that as much as possible. But it only needs to hit one of those questions for it to be something that you should at least think about outsourcing. So here's some ideas to start with. And so we've got a bunch of them listed out, and I'll go ahead and go through them. I'm not going to read them all because you can read. But I know, we've got prep and ship, accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, etc. But on the right side of the screen, we've also got getting groceries and yard work, HR tasks, product research, etc. There's tons of ideas out there, and way more than what I've got on this presentation. But things like getting groceries for us, that was actually huge because that took a good amount of time for us to do that. And yard work, it feels like it takes an hour to mow your lawn, but then you've got to add in, well, I've got to go get the gas, I've got to do the work to maintain my lawnmower, I've got to do all these things. And that time adds up over a longer period of time. So I don't know if you have any other ideas, Honey or Ryan, besides what's on here. But yeah.
I think this is going to look different for everyone's business, really. I mean, this is a great overall view, and probably everybody can find something on here that they could outsource, or maybe they already are outsourcing, but it's really going to look different for everybody. Everybody's needs are going to be different for their business, their home, whatever they have. Maybe it's, I know there are a lot of people that would love to have, like a housekeeper or things like that. There's going to be those kind of things that, I used to consider those like that is some crazy, extravagant, ridiculous luxury. And yes, I do have my groceries is outsourced. Either it comes online or they lose money on me at the grocery pickup because we got a lot of food. So it takes a lot of time for them to get all my stuff together. And all I have to do is just pull up and pick it up. And it's awesome. We have large property, and I now have my lawn mowing that's outsourced. And so that is a lot of time. And I used to think that was a ridiculous, excessive thing. But honestly, if you are an entrepreneur, you got to break out of that mindset of thinking, I only have this much money. I only have, like it's not a 9 to 5 where you can only make this much and that's it. And that's your budget. If you want to do some of these things and this is of value to you, then okay, how can I make up that extra X amount of money so I can afford to have these things? Because that's of value to me. With our mower that we had, our property took like over 4 hours to mow. We live out in the country. And so that's 4 hours of time that I got back by being able to pay for that. And people might think that's crazy, that's ridiculous, you pay for that. But that is over 4 hours every week that I get to do whatever I choose, whether it's time with my family, whether it's adding more business, things that I'm working on in my business, new income streams, whatever it is. So for me, because I'm an entrepreneur, I figure out how can I come up with the extra funds to outsource that so I can do all these other things that I choose to do with that time. There's just so much you can do. When you get that time back, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's Absolutely. So good. Jimmy, I would also say that just make it a numbers thing. So Danny, our friend, always talks about your hourly wage. Yeah. And so figure out what your hourly wage is in your business. And so it could be as simple as just, okay, a lot of you guys on here are Amazon sellers. So what's your average sales per month? What's your profit? So let's say it's $5,000 profit per month. Just throw out a number there. And let's say you work 40 hours a week. So take that 5,000 divided by, 160 hours in a month and come up with your hourly wage. And then just figure, okay, let's say the number, I haven't figured it up, but let's say your hourly wage is $50 an hour. You look at this, am I going to pay somebody, just look at it, apples to apples. You're going to pay, if you're doing it, you're essentially paying $50 to go get groceries, $50 an hour to do your yard work, $50 an hour to create a shopping list, $50 an hour for paying out your employees. And then look, is that a good deal? And then look, okay, are there people out here that will mow my yard for $20 an hour? 20 versus 50. Which one? Let's go with the 20. And then just make it, if you need to make it about the numbers, just do that. Figure out what your hourly pay is, how much it would cost somebody else to do these tasks, and weigh it out that way. Because it comes down to a business decision. Now, some of you may love the yard work and that's like a relaxing thing for you to break away. That's fine. Continue to do it. But if it's one of those things that you hate to do, you're like, man, I just don't feel like I have enough money to hire it out. well, then just really look at the numbers and compare. You probably are, because of your time, because time is so super valuable. That's your most valuable asset. And it costs you money to spend your time out there doing that, especially if you hate doing it. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. And you're also, if you're outsourcing it to other people, it's people that probably either enjoy that work, or,
right.
you're supporting other businesses too at that point. So,
Yeah.
you're also helping the economy and other people.
And they're probably going to do a better job, like creating logos you
Yeah.
have on here, product inserts. Yeah. Could all three of us do those things? Yeah, sure. We could probably take a course and figure it out and learn graphic design. But why would you do that when you can pay somebody $50 to create you, what you may not be able to get a nice logo for $50. Maybe on Fiverr you can, but you know what I'm saying? It's just look at the numbers, and it's probably most of the time it's not going to make sense for you to spend your time doing some of these things, especially if you have to learn how to do it, because it's going to be frustrating too.
Yeah. And I remember too, a while ago, before we like grew our business, whenever we were trying to create logos and stuff, I would try to do it like on a cheap software, and it'd take me like 4 or 5 hours. I'd never
Right.
like it.
Yeah.
So I might think it takes me 30 minutes, but it's actually gonna take me way longer than somebody else to do it that actually knows what they're
Exactly.
doing. So, okay. So what is needed to outsource? So let's see. Standard operating procedures are, kind of the first thing that you need to outsource something, if possible. If you can create these, that will help to make the transition easier to somebody else that you're giving this task to. Obviously, if you're outsourcing to a software, you don't need these procedures. However, you will most likely be creating these procedures for using that software to give to somebody else to do. So with standard operating procedures, you just basically want to list out your steps required to complete the task. And for us in our business, we try to write them as much as possible. I think that written is better than video, only because it's easier to change.
Mhm.
Now, creating them is going to be easier with video. So it's just something that you're trying to get outsourced, as quickly as possible, and you don't have as much time to write them out. And just shoot a video. Ryan mentioned it earlier. Just shoot a video showing the process while you're doing it. You don't have to set aside a whole bunch of time. You can actually just click a screen grab and screen share and record that video while you're doing the task. And then you can send that to a VA or to an employee to watch. The reason that we like written better than video is because it's easier to change. So if you're using a software, while you're using a software program and that program's interface changes or something about your process changes, then you can easily change out like a sentence in that standard operating procedure versus having to record a new video. But video does work well as well. So if you have anything written, like if you send out emails or, anything like that, you want to make, a standardized way to do a blog post or something. If you have templates for anything written, that helps. Responding to performance notifications in a seller account, your Amazon seller account, having a template for that, and they just switch out just little pieces of information, that makes it a lot easier as well. So those little tips just to shave off a little bit of time here and there, either for your employee or for yourself, is huge. And then references to other standard operating procedures that apply. So if you've got a bunch of standard operating procedures, or as you start to create some of yours, I would make a master list that has these all of the procedures in them with the links to the document or the video for the person to watch. Because if you're talking about prep and ship, and somebody is trying to figure out how to prep a specific product, and then they're looking for another product that's similar or the bundled item of that product, then as long as you've got a master list where somebody can find those easily, you're not going to be answering as many questions like, hey, how do we do this again? Or where's this video again? And trying to find those, regularly, because trust me, that's trial by error. And so we've had employees that you get messages all day, like, how do I do this? And if you just create a master list, it makes it a ton easier. And then you want to start creating a list of items that meet those 3 questions that we talked about a couple of slides ago. And really what you're doing is you're going to be creating a backlog, because you want to, as you go throughout your day, you can make it a to-do list, or you can do it online and just have like a Google Doc. But you want to start creating a list of things that you, are doing throughout the day that you want to outsource that meet those 3 questions. So if it is taking you longer than 5 minutes, if you don't like it, or it's something you have to do more than once, just write it down on the list. You don't have to worry about that video now. Just write it on the list and come back to it later. And really, it's going to prevent you from forgetting what needs to be systematized. So whenever you sit down to start making your standard operating procedures or figuring out what you need to outsource, you're probably going to be like, I got nothing. There's like one thing. Okay, prep and ship. That's all I got. So if you have a backlog of, for us, it was things like that whole slide that we mentioned, or that we showed on the prior slide, with managing or opening cases or performance notifications or looking at our account performance, et cetera. Those things, as you go throughout your day and you're doing those, just write them down. And then whenever you come to like your day to set aside for standard operating procedures, you already have a list of things that you can, take the time to do. And then set aside 1 time per week to create those standard operating procedures. Typically, I would assume Friday afternoons would be best. It can be an hour, it can be 30 minutes, or you can set aside the whole afternoon if you want, but I would do it consistently and just regularly, because you want to make sure that you've just got that time set aside. So you're not like on Monday morning saying, oh, I need to do this right now, and then it derails your whole week. If you've got that time set aside, just write it down in your backlog. And then on Friday afternoon or whatever day or time it is, go back to that and start creating those procedures to be able to outsource things. Yep. All right. And then a couple hours at a time, if needed, is probably best.
Yeah. One thing you guys could do is you probably already know those tasks that you want to outsource, but make it a point. Maybe this could even be some homework, is to audit your day, audit your week. Think through every single little task from the day that from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. What are all those little things, even personal stuff? You're not probably going to outsource brushing your teeth, but you know what I'm saying, like groceries and lawn mowing and all those, taking the kids, to stuff. But especially in your business, what are the things in your business that you do? What's the first thing that you do in your business? Do you get up and look at emails? Do you look at Facebook? Do you answer email? Whatever it is, write down those tasks and look at them, like which ones that meet these 3 questions that take me more than 5 minutes, that I don't like to do, and look at it and it's like, okay, and pick 1 or 2 that you're going to immediately get rid of, because we want you to take action. So make a list, audit your days, and then start systematically finding people to do these things, or software or whatever. But it's going to free your time up, and it's going to be huge.
Absolutely. All right. So who do you outsource to? Always who is in a first. This will be in order of importance and cost. And so let's get right into it. So software is the very first one that we look to in our business. So is there a software out there that does this already? And the reason that you want to start with software is because the cost for a software is typically going to be cheaper than having an employee or a virtual assistant do it themselves, right? And it also makes it a lot more systematic, because they already, that software already has a system in place, and you just have to learn how to manage that software. So we start and we try to find a software program out there to do the process for us. So if it's managing your inventory on Amazon, right? There's software like Replan Dashboard out there. If it's repricers, there's, Informed or Aura or Be Cool. Like, you've got a bunch of software programs out there to help you with those. And that will be the first thing that we would look to. And then let's see, sorry, I skipped that. Virtual assistant would be second. And the reason is because of cost. So a virtual assistant, you can get anywhere from, probably $3 to $6 an hour. And that's a good living wage for those virtual assistants. And it's ultimately going to come down to things that are more repetitive tasks, things that you can easily outsource that don't require, like you can't outsource prep and ship to a virtual assistant, but you can outsource things like emails or editing things, etc., or even managing the software programs that you use for your business. It's easy, simple, and repeatable tasks, and easy to follow standard operating procedures. So if you've got them written out and it's just line by line, you can follow those systematically, then that's the best task and the best thing to outsource to a VA. All right. Now, the third one, and it's probably more like I would put the third one and another fourth one underneath it, but the third one would be people, essentially, that you can count on that are in the United States, essentially, or whatever country you're in. So employees, independent contractors, or service providers. So I put in here to know the laws for employees versus independent contractors, because each state could be different. And, we don't want to get into that kind of discussion because that's a long discussion. But ultimately, you're going to be looking towards an employee or an independent contractor for things like shopping or prepping and shipping, or anything that you want, in your local area to be done. And then the other one would be service providers, and it could be its own category. But a service provider could be like a prep and ship company, or it could be, a fulfillment team that can do something for you. So I would look at these as the last option because it's usually going to be the most expensive option. And so we try to go in order of the importance of the task as well as the cost. So even though an employee might be the most expensive, but if you're giving them an extremely important task, that might be better than, trying to find a software that could do it that, could end up having mistakes made. So you want to make sure that you're evaluating those things properly.
Absolutely.
So for instance, taxes is definitely one. I wouldn't outsource taxes to a VA or a software as much. Obviously there's things like TurboTax that you can do them yourself, but if it's probably best to give that to an accountant to handle, or shopping, prep and ship, etc. And yeah, we talked about the service providers.
And Jimmy, real quick. So what, some of the tasks that are outsourceable, obviously we went through a list, but for the most part, a lot of people are going to be that are listening to this are going to be outsourcing like the prep and ship stuff. So let's think about virtual assistants, because that's a popular route that people go. Quick brainstorm on some things that you guys could just easily, than we've seen other people do, that you can use a virtual assistant for. Would be like, for me, it's my podcast. I have a virtual assistant that does all my editing, audio and video, uploads it to the podcast hosting service, puts it on the website, all that stuff. I don't have to think about it. I used to do that, and I'm so glad I have that person now. I pay her $80 a month. And that's just like a part-time little project for her. And she makes more doing her other thing. But that's a great, like Jimmy said, it's a good wage. Now, $80 a month is not a full-time thing. It's just it's a side, like a little part-time gig that she does for me. But you can expect to pay a virtual assistant anywhere between $300 and $1,000 a month, depending on what you're doing. A lot of you are selling on Amazon, so you might be looking for people who are going to find you product deals. That's something you can anywhere between $300 and $500 a month, depending on what part-time or full-time and what you have them doing. And so that honestly is a really good wage for them, because their cost of living is so much lower than ours. And so it's a win-win, win for us, because that's a great deal. Honey's not going to work for me for $500 a month, 40 hours a week.
Ryan.
but somebody in the Philippines will, because that's a good wage for them. And it's a blessing on both sides. Jimmy, you talked about like back-end Amazon account stuff. I would also say, guys, there might be some things that you should be doing in your business, but you just don't have the time to do. It's not something that you feel like is making you money, but it might be costing you money by not doing it, or maybe refund cases that you're not thinking about doing. If you hired somebody to do that for you and submit those cases, that's going to be making you money. Jimmy, what are some other things that are like very simple? I want to give them some things, like thinking, of course, the prep and ship, but what are some quick things that you've seen a lot of other people do?
Well, for a virtual assistant, I mean, if you're using buy lists for shopping, they can upload the buy list to your prep and ship software or to your prep center that you're using, and they can enter those pieces of information into the software program. We've got used VAs for merch designs, so creating those types of listings for t-shirts and things. But we
Mhm.
also do actually have, and this is probably not for most people, but there are VAs that cost more money, like $25 an hour, but that would cost $100 an hour in the United States, right?
Sure.
So we use VAs for developing our software programs and things too. At $25 an hour, but it's worth it because it saves
Yeah.
us so much more money. But yeah, those are a few things that we use.
Yeah, just guys, think of all the back end tasks of your Amazon account, monitoring performance notifications, or
Yeah.
your all those scores and metrics and things. Like, you could have somebody that goes in every single day and looks at that stuff, or
Yeah.
responds to customer emails. Not that you get a lot when you're using FBA, but a lot of you now are doing merchant fulfilled, and you might have more questions that you have to answer. If you're selling on eBay, there's definitely more questions there. All that stuff could be taken off your plate if you had somebody kind of looking over them. But just want to give you guys some quick things that, that a lot of
Mhm.
you are in that same boat and could outsource pretty quickly and pretty
Yeah.
easily.
Even like a repricer, even managing your repricer,
Yeah.
because there's that task that does take some time. So, I think that would be helpful for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Honey, can you outsource the homeschool?
I choose not to. I want to do that one.
Right. Oh, you're good at it. Cool.
Okay.
Guys, so this has been a lot of good information. Hopefully it's given you some encouragement to continue forward and knowing, the type of tasks that you could outsource, how to do it, who to outsource it to. Look for software, look for virtual assistants first before you go the hiring route. But just know that outsourcing is the key to growing your business. And so you obviously know that there's way more. We could spend hours and hours and hours on this topic and go really, really deep. And so we actually do want to go do that with you. And so let me share what we put together for you guys if you're interested. So we put together a course called From Busy to Intentional: Strategies to Outsource Your Business. And let's go over what we're going to cover. We believe it's going to be 7 different live classes. Now, it's possible that it might be 6 or 8, but we've got an outline here of 7 different topics that we want to go deep in to help you really take action on this, because that's what it's about. You could listen to webinars upon webinars, but if you don't take action, then it's not going to do any good. So we want to have homework with each of these. These are going to be spaced out over a week, so you'll have time to complete everything and get it done, because we really want you to have things outsourced by the time this is over. So we're going to start on next Thursday, May the 21st at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, so the same time as this. And first class is going to be talking about going down to the mindset, how to make the leap, because I know that a lot of you are thinking, man, yeah, that would be so great, but I'm still nervous about, making that leap of faith. So we're going to talk about what that's done for Honey and how she struggled with that, and just immediately what that meant for her business when that happened. So we're going to dig into that big time next week. What to outsource. Now, some of these things we've covered on a very high level tonight. We're going to dig really deep into the 3 questions. Let's talk about the potential tasks to outsource business and personal. Again, to give you a huge list. And also I have a list of 67 commonly outsourced tasks that a lot of people do that have an internet-based business, that we're going to give you. Just jog your brain thinking about all the different things you could possibly give somebody else to do. 3, who to outsource to. Again, we're going to dive deep into software, virtual assistants. We're going to have a whole module 4 is going to be all about virtual assistants, but service providers versus employees, independent contractors, all the questions related to that. When you get into the independent contractors and employees, Jimmy knows his stuff there and is going to provide a lot of information on, what types of things you're going to have for an employee versus an independent contractor, the rules and laws associated with that. He's not an attorney, but he's been through it. So we're going to cover that. Number 4 is all about virtual assistants, because I know a lot of you are going to go this route, and where to find them, the websites to look for, how to find them, how much to pay them, what jobs can they do, how do you track time, how do you communicate with them. Good news is, in the Philippines, most all of them speak English, and they speak great English for the most part. How do you trust them? What about the time difference? All those questions related to hiring somebody who you've never met and may never ever meet in person. What does that look like? We're going to dive super deep into that on class number 4. Number 5, we're going to go into what's needed. So this is one I think is going to be worth it just by itself. So obviously we've been doing this for a while. We have standard operating procedures, especially Jimmy does, related to his Amazon business. He's going to give you copies of the things that he can give you copies of that you could just take, like templates of standard operating procedures, and apply them to your own business. Tools that we use, the list of the items that meet the 3 questions, and talking about how you're going to set aside time to do all this. But I'm really excited about the standard operating procedures and templates and things, because that's going to be a huge time saver. Jimmy, anything else on that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing, it's not also, I mean, obviously we're going to be providing things that we have in our own businesses, but it's also going to be teaching you more in depth how to do this and to do it properly, so that, when we're done with this course, and that you're able to really just go and do this yourself and build your team and your business the way that you need to. And even, we'll provide a lot of things to you, but you're going to want to tweak those and make them better for your own business. So we will be providing written ones, and those will give you a great outline on how you should do those in your own business, as well as, I'll provide kind of what is it, like a master list for you to use for all of your standard operating procedures. That way you can, put the links in there and have it keyword driven and everything. And I say keyword driven because you want it to be searchable for your employees. So we're going to be able to give you those kinds of tools to do this yourself, right? After we're done. That's the point. So yeah.
Exactly. So that's going to be fun. And then 6 is how to organize it. There's free tools, there's paid tools. And we obviously would rather have you do the free ones, save you some money. And then 7 is all going to be dedicated to Q&A and how can we help you move forward. And it's going to be inside a free Facebook community that we're going to have, where you can ask questions throughout the 7 weeks. The templates and documents, that alone is going to be worth it, just because of the time saved that's going to give you. And then our resource list. We have lots of resources that we all use in our own business to make our business run easier, so that we're able to work on it versus in it all the time. And we'll give you all those resources. So super excited to start this off next week. And next slide. So there's going to be 7 live classes. We value that at $997. The templates and documents, we value that at $297. I think it's probably more than that. The community, you guys are all a part of different communities. You know how valuable that is, to be a part of a community where you can ask questions and get that support. So we value that at $297 for a total of $1,591. But as you know, that's not how much it's going to be. So only $97, guys. We want to make this a deal. We know that we care about you guys, and we really want to help out. And so make it a no-brainer. So if you go to busytointentional.com, I'll post the link here. You guys can grab that. If you're in Legends, do not do anything yet. We'll get you a coupon code. You get a really, really, really nice discount. If you're in the 0 to 100K replans group, you also get a discount. So don't do anything yet. A coupon code will be posted there. But we're going to start next week, and we really just want to help as many people as possible, because our heart is we want you to grow your business. We want you to spend more time with your family, because most of you probably started a business to be able to spend more time with your family. And if you're not careful, your business can become just a job. And you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I created this huge baby, and now I got to feed it all the time. And it's taking up all your time, and you wanted to spend time with your family. Plus you have your job, and you can get tired and burn out pretty quickly. And I know that outsourcing is going to be a key. And we want to teach you everything we know about this to free up that time to do what's important in your life, which is your family. So, Honey, Jimmy, anything else? We'll take questions too.
I don't think I have anything else on here. I mean, the biggest thing is you've got to really, like we talked earlier, evaluate your time. And I assume most people in here would say that their time is and the things that they will learn is going to be worth way more than the $97 here, because you're going to be able to outsource really just about anything in your business or in a lot of things in your own just personal life. We're going to talk a lot about that stuff to make sure that you can free up time for what's important. So I'm excited for this, because whenever, we look back on our business, the only way to get to, the places we're at right now and growing our business, or, being able to take a vacation where we couldn't take a vacation before. Like that kind of stuff for us was only able to be done because we outsourced and because we did take that leap of faith and we took the time to do it. So I'm excited because this one will be huge changes in people's businesses, in their lives. This one really excites me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really, you know, busy to intentional just really sums it up, because I think a lot of us, when you think, and I know even us here, we've got a lot of resources, we've got a lot of stuff to share, but there's still things that we're learning. Okay, we have to outsource more too. So we're still learning that as well. But we can all relate with that busy, where you just feel like Ryan was talking about, where you're just spinning your wheels and you're thinking, I wanted to start my own business. I want to be an entrepreneur. And then now I'm doing everything. I'm doing too much. Can't take a break. Can't, break away for vacations, like Jimmy said. And so we want to help give you the tools and help you wrap your mind around what it can look like if you make this an intentional thing. We want to give you practical steps that will help you. This is not just sit around and watch a bunch of great training and go on your way. We want to make this where you can actually outsource. You will leave this outsourcing things in your business, and it will be a lot more intentional. It will relieve some of that busy in your life. And so there's just going to be a lot of great stuff in here. I'm excited about this. I know what it's done for my business, for my family. And so I want to be able to share some of that with you guys. I'm so excited. I think this is going to be great. So
yeah, we got people joining. Ron, thanks for joining us, man. We're excited to have you in there. So guys, any questions, feel free to, we'll stick around for a couple minutes. We don't want to take up your time if you got other things you want to get to, but we're here to answer if you have anything that's any burning questions. Or Honey or Jimmy, anything else you can think of that you want to encourage them with? Guys, this is the key. It really is. I can tell you my business would not be anywhere near where it is now if I was trying to do this all on my own. And I think, Jimmy, you told me one time, just a couple times now, that you guys were capped at 25K pretty much when you and Brittany were trying to do it yourself, and you may have been able to get to 40,000 a month, possibly, you think, if you were doing it by yourself. But yeah. What happened when what did happen?
Yeah.
You guys
So we were capped at 25K per month, just mainly because, like I said, I did not like prepping and shipping, and Brittany didn't either. And one thing that I've even realized too is we also didn't have any standard operating procedures set up for ourselves. We weren't using buy lists at the time. We weren't doing anything in our business that would have helped our own business. So we probably could have made it to 40K per month just implementing the standard operating procedures that we needed to implement. Instead, we decided to get employees, and we had to do it all at the same time, which was great. I mean, we went from 25K to 2 months later at 70K. But ultimately, it was taking the time to build out those standard operating procedures, and then getting employees or independent contractors or whoever for your business will help you to just exponentially grow very quickly too. I mean, in a 2-month time frame to go from 25 to 70 is insane to think back on. Yeah. And yeah, I'm excited to see people have the same results or similar results with that, or even going up from 25 to 30K or whatever it is. I mean, it's going to be a huge difference, right? So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, Brandon's asking how many SOP templates will be included roughly, if you had to guess. I know we're still putting all that together, but
yeah, I'm still putting that together. I don't know. I don't want to put out a number and be wrong. At least 10.
Okay.
From me.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, Benji says, could you repeat everything he just got here?
We're starting over for Benji.
I would do that for him. He's my buddy. But I won't. Everybody else can hate us. Ray says he's doing 42K a month by himself with no help. He needs help. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congrats, by the way.
Yeah, 42 a month is awesome, Ray.
Yeah.
Okay, so Greg, good question. Wish it weren't 7 weeks long, as it will be hard to make each week. Well, every week is going to be recorded, so you don't have to watch live. We get it. It's not going to be possible for you to be on with us live every single time. So what essentially we're doing is this will end up being a quote course that we'll probably package up and do something with later. But we've, instead of like coming together and let's create a course and let's sit down and record all these videos. We might as well just have people come along with us and make it a live workshop so you can ask questions while we're creating this thing. So that's essentially what this is. So it's like almost a live course. But yeah, don't worry, Greg, you wouldn't have to be there every single week. We don't expect that anyway. It's going to be all recorded for you to watch at any time, years down the road, even if you want. So no pressure to be there with us. So cool. Well, if there's no other questions, guys, we will let you have your evening. Honey, Jimmy, thank you so much for doing this with me. Appreciate it. I know it's going to help a lot of people. Really excited about that. Anonymous, what is discount for Legends? Legends members get $50 off, and I just posted a link to that coupon code in the Legends group. And so, yep, I'm going to take care of the Legends members because you guys are awesome and you already invest every month. So yeah, Oscar, you're 80 a month and you need help too. Yes, man, you're doing 80,000 a month by yourself. That's crazy.
Oscar.
Cool. Another question here. Let's see. Replan discount. We have to look. Jimmy's going to post that link in
I'll post that after we get off of here.
Yep.
Since I'm sharing my screen, I wanted this to stay up.
Yeah, I'll post that in there right after this. And somebody asked Jimmy if the replay would be in the Replens group. I'll get you the recording. You can post it.
Awesome. Thanks.
So cool, guys. If that's it, we'll let you go. Go to busytointentional.com. We'd love to have you in there. We want to really help your business out. I know it really will. So jump in and we'll see you in the class. So thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.